You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michelle Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michelle Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. Previously on the Boss Experience. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. My name is Michelle Davis, and I'm your host. And I'm so excited you're with me today. And I'm so excited that you chose to tune in to my podcast. And so in this episode, we're talking about what's the difference between a coach and a consultant. So when you leave your career, you could possibly have an identity crisis, right? So when I left my career in nonprofit services, I had two identity crises. The first was figuring out who I was outside of my nonprofit career. And the second identity crisis I had once I decided to become this professional service provider was, am I a coach? Am I a consultant? And what is the difference between the two? So I know I'm not alone in that feeling. It's very important for you to distinguish who you want to be, what the two are. So let's get into it. Hey, if you're enjoying this episode and you know you're ready to take that next step to finally become a professional service provider on your own terms, I want you to consider working with me. When you work with me, I help you start your business the right way from the beginning so you can generate the revenue you desire doing what you love. So head over to CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. That's CEOBlueprintAcademy.com to check out the ways you can work with me to get set up for business success right from the start. That's CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. Okay, back to the show. And so let's talk about what it means to be a coach. So a coach is someone that helps individuals. They help support them through a problem that they want to solve or a transformation they want to make, and they guide them to that final result or outcome. When you coach someone, it's more of helping someone discover something that they need to do to solve their problem and guiding them to that solution, but giving them the plan and the tools to do it. And it's up to them to execute it. And the ultimate goal is usually something very, very personal to that individual person. For example, weight loss or, some kind of personal growth, maybe moving through trauma or resolving trauma in your life. And with coaching, the outcome that the client desires is very personal to them. And it's a big problem that they need to solve within themselves or for themselves to help them be better and do better in life or in their business. So what exactly is a consultant? Unlike the coach, a consultant's client is a company or an organization. A consultant is coming in to solve a specific problem for that organization. And so they have very specific knowledge related to that industry. And they also have specific knowledge for the type of problem that they will solve for organizations. Whereas a coach has expertise, they have a skill set that can cross across different industries. Maybe as a coach, your skill set is maybe leadership, and you're teaching individuals how to be a leader. It doesn't matter whether they're coming from corporate or nonprofit or governmental entity. Your expertise is in leadership. However, a consultant comes in with industry-specific knowledge. So I'll give you an example. I worked for a nonprofit organization, and that organization had a ton of problems with one of the programs. And it was a Medicaid-funded program. And so they had a few problems. One is they needed to know how to maximize the services for the clients so that they could bill Medicaid the maximum amount of money. And they needed a structure within the organization to be able to do that. So they brought in a consultant And the consultant came in and she actually didn't just talk to the leadership. She talked to the staff. She looked at the records. She looked at everything that the nonprofit was doing. Also, that she could, number one, have an understanding of how the organization functioned, what were the dynamics in the organization, and also so that she could determine what the best solution is. Because the organization knows they're having a problem, they know something's wrong. The consultant's role is to identify exactly what the problem is, tell them exactly what they need to do to fix it, and give them a plan to do that. So it's quite different than coaching. And like I mentioned, a consultant comes in to work with the client, which is the company or the organization, to help them make a specific change in a specific area. Another thing you want to think about when you think about consulting is think about the ways that the company that you're coming from has used consultants. And one of the ways, when I think back over my nonprofit career, that consultants have played a role with the organizations that I worked for was coming in to provide training. So I remember we would have leadership retreats to teach us how to be better leaders, to teach us how to be better managers. We would also have personal development training, things related to secondary trauma, which means when you work with clients and people, sometimes you take on their problems internally within yourself, and that can be stressful to you. We had people that come in and deliver training. So when you're thinking about your professional service career, you want to think, what is it that you're really, really good at? And what is it that you most enjoy? Do you enjoy coming in and being very intensive with people and working specifically with organizations rather than working with individuals? So what you choose is all up to you. So let's talk about the skill sets that you need to be a coach versus a consultant. If you're going to be a coach, you have to be good at supporting people to an outcome. And you also have to be a problem solver because, there's no such thing as a cookie cutter approach. So you can have a group coaching program, but you have to have a way of reaching the people who may need that extra support. So you have to be able to listen to a problem and be able to give people solutions that aren't cookie cutter solutions. And the other thing is you need to be able to hold people accountable. Individuals get distracted, they go off path. And so you have to be able to hold people accountable in a very supportive way. And so when you think about consulting, the skill set that you would need is you need to be an analytical person. So you need to be able to come into an organization, spend some time, know exactly what you need to look at, and really develop a plan and work with that organization to draft a plan of exactly how they're going to solve this problem. And so you have to be able to talk to people, whether it's talking to the staff, meeting with management, whatever capacity you're coming in at or being called to come in at. You have to be really good at being able to formulate plans. Now, both coaches and consultants, they need a process for how they deliver the service because both are operating businesses and both need to know how they're going to take their client from A to Z when it comes to delivering results and outcomes. So I want to invite you to a breakthrough strategy session. This is a free, no obligation call with me to talk about your business, to see where you are in your professional service provider quest, and to see where you want to go and create a customized game plan for you to get there. All you have to do is visit CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. That's CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. The one thing I want you to take away from this episode is to think about, how do you best work? What do you want to do? And what are your strongest skills? When you think about consulting, if you're still in your 9 to 5, with both coaching and consulting, you really need to have a way for how you're going to provide those services when you're thinking about who your clients are. With that being said, thanks for tuning in. And I can't wait for you to tune in to another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. Be well. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time.